And now TSPN presents Open Mic Friday with Mike Spence and Butter.
There you are.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Spence, Open Mic Friday, and once again, I'm honored to have a great guest here today. I'm here with Mr. Ciro Toma of Toma and Associates here in Jackson and throughout Amador County. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't know you, Ciro. You're a community leader here in our county. And welcome to Open Mic Friday.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Mike.
What a great opportunity. I know you've been extremely involved for years in our county fair, which comes up next week. And that's why I invited you to come on and talk a little bit about what's going to happen here this next week up at the county fair. And every year it's a little bit different, and it's always a struggle to make sure we have the best fair in the world. And I know you're actively involved in that. And why don't you tell me, is there a fair board that you sit on, or how does that work?
Yes, actually, I just retired from the fair board last year.
Oh, great.
So I was on the board for 36 years. I was appointed by Governor Jerry Brown when he was governor in his first term in 1976. Oh. And so I've been able to serve on the board with through all of the various governors since Jerry Brown, and had the privilege to serve with some great board members, great managers. And you're right, the Amador County Fair is a jewel. It's one of the best small fairs recognized by our national association. And it's a special place. There's always something going on, as you say. There's 4 days of the fair. You're going to go over there and you're going to see everybody from the county, that there are people that you haven't seen since last year's fair.
Well, I know is it called the Western Fair Board, or they call it the Western Fair Association?
There's ours is the Amador County Board. It's actually the 26th District Agricultural Association. The fair is actually a state agency. Even though it's called the Amador County Fair, it's a state agency. There's a Western Fairs Association, which is a trade association of fairs in all the western U.S. and Canada. Calgary Stampede down to New Mexico and everything to the west. And I had the privilege to serve on that board for about 10 years and was its president in 2001. And it's just amazing, traveling all over the west at fairs and stuff, how well Amador County is known for its sponsorships, for its programs, and just being a great community-oriented organization.
Well, I've told many guests, whenever the subject of the fair comes up, I always talk about having interviewed Frank Bigelow, our assemblyman, and with the cowboy hat and everything, and he went to Sacramento as a new politician, and you have to volunteer for committees, and they could put you on the, this committee or that committee. So he got onto the fair committee. How perfect.
Oh, definitely.
And, that's really what you need, is somebody who understands rural needs and how it all works and how important it is to our economy, and, showing those cattle and all the different livestock out there. I mean, that's the place where people really showcase what they do, in agriculture and farming and livestock. And, the fair just gives them that opportunity to really bring their business activities to the fore, and to show people exactly the quality of what it is that they're doing, and how important is that to the economy.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand we don't get any funding anymore, hardly, from the state. No,
the state's cut off the funding in 2011. Fairs used to get a percentage of horse race revenues, and it wasn't actual tax dollars. So it all came out of the cut off of parimutuel betting. And that was stopped in 2011 by the Sacramento and its wisdom. You wonder, because fairs generate over $2 billion in revenues. I mean, it's a business statewide. Several $100,000 in sales tax revenues go to the state and everything else. And but I guess it wasn't a top priority for people. But you mentioned Frank Bigelow. Frank actually was on the fair board in whatever county.
He's been involved for a long time with
it. So he was on the fair board down there, so he is familiar with fair.
He didn't just ride up with that hat and become assemblyman. He's been doing it for a while. I could tell.
Exactly.
He's been around.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been around.
Yeah, fairs actually, he's on the joint committee for fairs, And it's the only committee in the legislature that has members of the Assembly and the Senate, both on one committee, rather than having each separate committee. And they were primarily dealing with funding and a lot of rules and regulations with livestock and transportation and a lot of legislation that affects fairs. And when I was on the WFA board, we have full-time staff in Sacramento that watches bills, does advocacy work, and that is just amazing. You get into everything from food service, restaurants, to livestock.
Oh, you don't realize how much is
with
involved.
transportation, with carnival safety, with just you name it, and a fair's got something to do with it.
Right. When I first came to Amador County, I mentioned to you, it's my adopted home. 10 years ago, my wife and I, of course, we'd hit that wine tasting evening Friday nights, and we still do that every year. But that was what we thought of. We thought through our kids and the wine tasting. We really did. I didn't have a clear understanding of all the different aspects of the fair, and each year we see different dimensions of it, and we appreciate all of it. My daughter showed her horses out there for a few years, and she'd come back with all the blue ribbons, and it was a big part of her life, upbringing and childhood. And
yeah, it's a great all-around family function. It really is. There's something for everybody when you go to the
memories for a lifetime. Really,
Yeah,
the
definitely.
fair and her in that little jacket and little hat. Pretty impressive opportunity for kids to participate in those types of things. I came from San Francisco, and we went to Playland at the beach. we didn't have all that the avenues to become involved and to raise animals, and it's just a great thing.
Great for the youth.
Yeah,
it
it
really is. It's fun to watch kids at the junior livestock auction showing
Right,
their animals,
right.
and then preparing them for the sale, and then especially some of the little kids finally realizing that's the last time they're going to see their little lamb, and the tears start flowing.
What a
And
learning experience that is.
And of course, then when they get the check, they can wait till next year till they go buy a hog or a
Talk
steer.
about immediate maturation. The kids grow up real fast in Amador County. I've talked to a lot of our local business owners, and we do a little promotional thing, and I'm doing the iPad thing and going out, and they're doing a welcome. Looking forward to seeing you out at this year's fair. And I can't tell you, Ciro, how many Camps Propane, Ernie up at Camps, and Guy over at Guy Saws. I said, talk a little bit about yourself and your business, and every one of them, without exception. And I'm sponsoring that junior livestock this year.
Oh, yes.
That's what it. And you
Yeah.
see the business leaders, and they could talk about their own thing, but they realize, it's the youth, and
It is.
that everything that's going on out there is very important.
The junior livestock generates in excess of $300,000, and that money goes to the
Amazing.
kids.
That's
And it's
amazing.
all local businesses, local families. You'll see people bidding.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's my neighbor's kid, and
Right,
I
right.
like him. Well, I'll buy his lamb. And all the way up to the big guys, that are buying the several $1,000 steers and stuff.
Oh,
But it's just a great thing to watch. It's this community has been so supportive of the fair, and Tom and Sue with TSPN have been great every year. They are big supporters of the fair.
Well, we're going to go to a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk more with Ciro Toma and some recognition that he received lately, and a little bit more about the fair. But we're going to take a butter break, so please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.